gonna apologize here. We were gonna break for lunch, but we're trying to keep an eye on the weather in case it turns nasty like it did yesterday. So to move it on along, we're just gonna kind of skip the lunch break and just keep going. We might take a small break here in a bit, but it's not gonna be a long one. I want to introduce our next speaker. He is a researcher from Arkansas and a great man, Mr. Robert Swain. Yep.
I'll pay you later. Thank you. Glad you came out today on a windy day. It's exciting to be here at this Cross Twisters. Is that what it is? Cross Tornadoes, Cross Timbers. I got here late. I'm a minister and had to do a funeral yesterday, and I didn't get here till about 9 o'clock. And man, I didn't know what was happening with the weather. And so I slept in my car and slept in the casino parking lot over here in my car. Minister at the casino. Okay. DW's putting my presentation up here. I think he's just about to get it. I don't know if you're going to be able to read all this, so I'll probably read it with you, for you, I mean. My name is Robert Swain, and I've been doing research since 2007. Before that, I was always interested in Bigfoot. I was an armchair squatcher. I watched everything that came on the television. I'd read everything I could get my hands on. And one day it just dawned on me, I said, why am I sitting in a chair and letting all these other people that I'm watching and reading about have all the fun? And so I got on the internet and I found a place and went down to Texas to the Texas conference, and the next year I asked if I could come and speak for a table space because I had some things I wanted to sell. And Craig was very gracious to me. He's sitting in the back there. The next year I met DW there at Honubi, and it just kind of boiled over from there. Is somebody going to push the button for me? Where's the button pusher? Where's my Vanna? All right, okay, here we go. I started drawing cartoons. I've always been interested in art, but I started drawing cartoons in 2007 for my son. He was in grade school then. He's in junior high now, but they were just silly little cartoons about Bigfoot, and I showed them to some people, and they really liked them. And Kathy Strain from the Alliance of Independent Bigfoot Researchers suggested I start showing these to people, and so that's what I did at the Texas conference that first year. This is, we need more plaster, and a lot of the cartoons that I draw is about me. Most of them, if there's a Bob in there, I'm the butt of the joke, and I always try to draw my son in there too. But we go out researching. I call my son my Bigfoot bait when we go out, and we've been in several different states looking, and had some. We've never had a sighting. We found footprints. We've heard audio recordings. We found tree breaks. We found a tree structure. Had rocks thrown at us, and I had a pine cone thrown at me. But I've never seen anything yet. DW promises me that I will someday, but not yet. Not yet. Go ahead. I would encourage you, if you're interested in Bigfoot at all, Sasquatch at all, to find you an organization that you can be a part of. There's all kinds of organizations out there. This is one I draw, and it's the Bigfoot Overreactors Organization, BOO for short. And they have Class A encounters every time they go out. If you see an organization that sees a Bigfoot every time they get out of the car, either they found the honey spot, or maybe they're a little bit reacting to things. But the three guys here, a raccoon up here, and he says, "Oh, I heard it. Where's Jim? Oh, it's got Jim. Oh, where is it? Lordy, Lordy!" And Jim's laying down there playing dead on the ground, saying, "Shut up and play dead." And that's some organizations are just like that. You can find those on the internet, but find you a credible organization that is very interested in the subject, very interested in following protocol, scientific protocol, and researching and documenting what they find. There are no universities looking for this creature. There are no major big organizations that are out there being given billions of dollars to look for this creature. We're all amateurs out there. And it really, before the scientific establishment raises its head and takes notice with this, we're all that's out there. And so what we need to do is make sure we're as credible as we possibly can be. So find you that good organization that's out there. Go ahead, DW. Here's another one for Boo. Find an organization that will prepare their organization. I don't know if you can see this or not, but every tree has a little box that says, break in case of emergency, break glass, and inside the box is a pair of Y-fronts. And so I've been in the deep, dark woods sometimes, and this happens. There's sometimes that the hair just goes up on your neck, and you know you're not alone, and you just, sometimes I wish I could have found just a little box like that to break the glass. Go ahead, Some of the stuff that we've talked about today, and you'll hear people talk about, and I've got cartoons about these as well. Call blasting. I don't know if anybody's talked about call blasting or not. It's when you have an amplifier and huge speakers and you project sounds out there to get a response, to elicit a response from the woods. We do this quite often, and we do get responses, hoops and calls from the woods. I've always wondered, when I'm out there in the deep, dark woods and I'm call blasting, what am I going to do if I call them in? You got to have a plan. You're out there hoping that they'll come, but what are you going to do when they do? And these two guys are in the truck, and they're saying, "Okay, we called them. Now what?" And they're surrounded by the Bigfoot that are out there. Go ahead, DW. There's two different camps in the Bigfoot community about what do you do when you're out in the woods. Do you try to be as stealthy as possible? Do you wear the camo and spray the scent and so you can sneak up on something? Or do you just get out there and have fun and talk and play your guitar and laugh and make them curious and let them come to you? So there's two different approaches here. I personally think that once you drive up, they know you're there. You're going into their backyard. They know you're there until you leave. So this guy, it says down here, for hours he had crept towards the Bigfoot. He had blended into perfectly into the surroundings. That is, until his whitey tighties gave him away. He's camouflaged, and they've identified him by his whitey tighties. So be careful about your underwear too. Personally, I get on the internet and I found some long handles that are pre-browned. They become in brown colors, and that's always handy if you're out in the woods too. You'll find some underwear that are pre-browned. Go ahead. We talked about thermal imaging out there, something that can see in the dark where you can't see in the dark, night vision and all. You kind of wonder what Bigfoot is doing out there when we can't see in the dark. Are they dancing around us? Are they playing around us? This one says that in the darkness, the Bigfoot did not count on thermal imaging. And so maybe this is what they do when we're out there in the dark. Go ahead. Big Jim has a big cast collection. I have a lot of casts as well. I was so excited at Christmas. I had a big old box, and it came from my father-in-law, and I ripped into it, and he talked to Dr. Meldrum up in Idaho, and he got me a copy of the butt cast that's in Dr. Meldrum's book. And it's about this wide, and it's I'm trying to talk my wife into letting me hang it on the wall, but she's not there yet. But a big cast of butt. I've got footprints, I've got knuckle prints, I got hand prints, I got an ankle print from the skookum cast, I got a butt print. Sooner or later, I'm going to have the whole thing. And so I'm looking for that one clumsy Bigfoot that's going to fall down and do that face imprint in the mud, and then I'll really have it there. This says, the guy on the telephone that says, "What was that? Hello, hello, hello?" And it says, ironically, in the middle of the phone interview about his massive cast collection, he was accidentally buried alive by said collection. So be careful about that if you collect casts. Go ahead. I like this one. This is really going to mess with their minds. That's what the Bigfoot's saying. hand cast or something that's quite amazing. They talk about footprints all the time, but the size of the handprints are massive. I'm really intrigued with those. I think this may be the copy of my next book, Messing with Your Mind. Here we go. All right, there you go. We talked about hair samples, how you can get DNA samples from there. I stuck this one in because I like it. I don't know why, but I just do. It says bald and beautiful in some worlds, but not his. Can you imagine, not just a toupee, but a whole body toupee, because, you just don't have any hair on your person? Go ahead, DW. This is one that people seem to like too. It says, yeah, it's a hair sample, all right, but I'm not going to touch it. You kind of wonder where those hairs actually came from on the creature itself. And be careful. There's a protocol too on collecting hair samples. The gentleman up here that showed me the photographs of the footprints on his land and the limbs that were broken down. I said, did you look for hair? And he said, I didn't even think about it. Hair can be so valuable in identifying these creatures. There's not many really credible hair samples out there. So any more that we can get is very important. Don't touch them with your hand. Put them in a paper sack instead of a plastic sack. That's important too. Make sure that there's some type of protocol involved in that. And just don't even think about where the hair comes from. All right, there you go. We talked about scat. Scat is poop. When I talk to kids at grade schools, they don't know what scat is, and so as soon as you say the word poop, everybody laughs, and they're all interested in that. This guy is yelling, "We've got evidence, people! Somebody get me a bag!" And the other side, the guy is saying, "Please get it off my boot! Watch where you step out in the woods." But scat is very important too. I have a piece. My wife, it's in the freezer right now. My wife always threatens to throw it away. So you never know. You never know. Go ahead. Okay. What do Bigfoot eat? There's a connection between farms where there's livestock and the small animals, and there's a connection between Bigfoot and dogs as well. Dogs and cats just seem to disappear. This woman, Bigfoot, is talking to her husband and says, "Why is it every time that we eat out, we always eat fast food in a box?" And you're out in the woods. If your animals are starting to disappear, take note. Something's getting those animals, and it could be a Bigfoot. Go ahead, you do. Carl, you talked about all kinds of photographs and equipment here, electrical equipment. You talked about everything except the thing that was interesting to me. How much does all this cost? That's all you have to do. I'm a gadget guy. I'm totally inept when it comes to technology, but I love gadgets. So all you have to do is show it to me, and I'll say, "How much is that?" And so I jump at it. But make sure you have batteries. This is what this is. This guy's saying, "Dang, it's a bad time for low batteries." And I don't know if Bigfoot actually ride moose or not. But that would be a way cool picture, wouldn't it? To get that. Go ahead, DW. Talked about game cameras, and I've set these out. Just like everybody else, I've not had much success at all with game cameras. You kind of wonder what Bigfoot thinks about that. They have to tiptoe around everywhere, making sure they're not in the front of the camera. And here's a Bigfoot with a shower cap on. He's got his towel and his big brush. He's going to the pond to bathe. And there's camera traps all over. And it says, the Sasquatch have had just about enough of these camera traps. Just about enough. Go ahead. Another picture of a stupid squirrel. I think Jim talked about some of these camera traps. Something has been waved in front of the camera, like a stick or something like that. So it's like the creature knows that they're there, and maybe they're toying with them or trying to figure out what is this. But there's lots of pictures of squirrels, lots of pictures, and I just had that impression of that Bigfoot dangling that squirrel in front of the camera. Another picture of a stupid squirrel. Go ahead. Had pine cones thrown at me one time, and this is a cartoon I drew for my son. It's me and him in the tent. I said I had the strangest dream that Bigfoot was throwing pine cones. And one night we were sitting close to a river, and all night long, tiny little rocks about the size of your pinky thumbnail just came into camp. And I have a parabolic microphone that I set up on a tripod like this and put a recorder with it. And 3 or 4 times those rocks hit that tripod, that plastic. You could hear it clank in the middle of the night. So it was really interesting. All right. Okay. We haven't talked about Bigfoot migration. Some people think that they may go from coast to coast, and we're seeing the same creatures. I think they're regional. The Native Americans, when they talk about it, they say they migrate north to south, following the mountain ranges. So in California, they may go up into Oregon and Washington, but they don't come over to Arkansas. Maybe the ones in Arkansas come over to Oklahoma. I researched the east end of the Ouachita Mountains, where you guys are right here on the western side of it, and we may be looking at the same creatures. But there's a migration. It says, adapting to their changing environment, the Bigfoot found new ways to migrate at the end of the season. And so when you're out camping, look on top. Look, something may just be riding there. Go ahead. Whistling and vocalizations. This says, after visiting the lemon grove, the group got hopelessly lost and separated when they couldn't whistle their location to each other. I don't know if you've heard whistles in the dark before, but it's really interesting. My grandfather, back in the 30s, in McCurtain County, Oklahoma, went deer hunting one time, and he was a young man, and the sun was going down, and he started walking back to where the road was, where he had tied his mule, and he got nervous and started whistling, and then something whistled back. And he would whistle, and then something would return to whistle. And all the time, walking back through the woods, he would whistle, and it would whistle. And he told me these stories when I was a little boy, and he says, yeah, I've never heard a deer whistle like that. Because he just couldn't wrap his mind around there was anything else in the woods besides the deer. But something was returning his whistle calls. So be listening, and get your recorders out there. When we go out and we research all night long, I love the recorders, because when you're sleeping in your tent, they're recording all night long. And so we try to put out 5 to 6 those little recorders you get from Walmart, the little secretary recorders, you can stick in your pocket. We hang them on trees all around the area. And so if you hear something, you've got another recorder that's going to collaborate what that one recorder says. So you've got more than one recorder of the same event. So that's really important. We haven't talked about the snake. This guy says, yes, he was the alpha male, and he had the trophies to prove it. It says, loudest call, best rock thrower, best dog chili, and worst stink. He said he had the trophies to prove it. But the odor that they give out is something that a lot of witnesses talk about. Maybe you've smelt this. I've on 2 occasions I've had this encounter where it's just almost a gagging reflex that your eyes want to water, and you just want to just get out of there. It's just terrible smell. And I don't think it's hygiene. It may be. Maybe they roll around with dead animals. A lot of the larger primates have scent glands that when they're angry or they're nervous or they're agitated, this scent will come out, and it's a very pungent odor. But why can't Bigfoot have that as well? All right. Okay. I used to like Johnny Carson. I'm showing my age there. When he would have his top 10, and Jay Leno did this too in his late night shows. So I've got a top 10 about the bane of Bigfoot research, and that's the hoaxer. I don't know if you've ever had an experience of dealing with a hoaxer or footprints or whatever. You kind of wonder why. Why go to all that effort to hoax something? So I have a top 10 countdown of why you shouldn't hoax. And countdown number 10 here is for not hoaxing Bigfoot is it just proves how big of a jerk you really are. Why go to the effort to do this just to fool somebody you don't even know? It's not like you're going to fool your brother or fool your mom or something like that. You're fooling strangers. What a jerk. What a jerk. Okay, number 9 for not hoaxing a Bigfoot is animals are afraid of a real Bigfoot, not you. You know, think about that. You're dressing up as a wild animal out in the woods. You know, you don't know how a bear would react to a juvenile Bigfoot, because that's about the size you would be. You don't know how wolves would react to a juvenile Bigfoot. You know, they may be afraid of the real thing, but they're not going to be afraid of you. Okay, reason number 8 for not hoaxing a Bigfoot, and this is a big one for me. If you're successful, who can you tell? You know, you ever thought about that? You know, as soon as you tell somebody that you did this, it's a possibility that it's going to get out, and it's going to be something that you're going to get in trouble for. So if you're a good hoaxer, you can't tell anybody. You can't tell anybody. That's crazy. Okay, number 8 for not hoaxing a Bigfoot is the piñatas are a favorite annual picnic for Bigfoot researchers. So man, some of these people that spend so much time, so much money, so much dedication to be out in the woods and look for this thing, man, all it takes is one lousy hoaxer out there to tear your reputation down too. You know, you see it all the time. The Patterson-Gimlin film is a great piece of evidence that's out there. What does the world think about it? Oh, it's a hoax, because somebody's claimed it to be a hoax. So I really feel for the researchers who are out there that have to deal with hoaxers. Okay, DW. Number 6. Number 6. Okay. What if Bigfoot are territorial? Have you ever thought about that? Being in the woods, dressed up like a Bigfoot, and you run into somebody else out there and he says, this is my territory, and I'm going to prove it to you. You know, what if Bigfoot is territorial? I wouldn't want to be dressed out there. Where do you go? Oh, there. Man, you're all over the place, aren't you? Okay, number 5. What if researchers are not the only ones wanting to collect a specimen out there? Now, this is, I know Bigfoot, UFO connection, that's just, I just don't think it's there. But, if UFOs are coming here and they're collecting samples, don't you think they'd want a Bigfoot sample too? And I'd hate to be dressed like a Bigfoot out in the woods when they're going to put you in a big mason jar. Okay, number 4. For not hoaxing a Bigfoot, the law enforcement will protect you from yourself. What do you think people think of when they think of a hoaxer? You were nuts. Number 1, to be out there, and number 2, to go to this effort. Maybe you need professional help, and the police will help you with that. I don't know, is it against the law in Oklahoma to hoax something like this? I don't know. In Texas, is it against the law to hoax? I don't know. I don't know if it is in Arkansas either. I just don't. I'd hate to find out that way. Okay, number 3. All right. Okay. Number 3 for not hoaxing a Bigfoot, the amorous advances of a female Bigfoot. That would be a very scary thing to be out in the woods. You're gonna be out there and you're gonna fool somebody. You run into a female Bigfoot that's looking for a boyfriend. And then what's going to happen once you get out there and she realizes that you're not the real deal? Hello? Okay, you're not the real deal. I would hate to be this guy. He's saying, oh, please, please, please help me. Okay, and number 2 for not hoaxing a Bigfoot is the amorous advances of a male Bigfoot. I think this would even be worse than the female. You think about that. This is a big guy. We were looking at 27-inch footprint casts. That's a big guy, probably 9 feet, maybe 10 feet tall. And if he's looking for a girlfriend, you're about the size of a female Bigfoot. A petite female Bigfoot, a cutie. And so I would hate to be in the woods when he's looking for a girlfriend. That'd be a very scary thing. Okay, and number 1 for not hoaxing a Bigfoot. It may be the last stupid thing you ever do. You dress up like an animal and run out in the woods, and we know Oklahoma, we know Arkansas. Everybody's packing in the woods, and they're going to shoot at anything that moves. It's just stupid to be in the woods and use yourself as a target like this. And somebody's going to call and say, yeah, I got a real live dead Bigfoot and a real live dead body, and I want $1 million for it too. And you may be strapped to somebody's hood because it's a stupid thing that you did. Okay, just a couple more. Here we go. When you go out in the woods, you be careful. I've always liked this one. He's sitting in a cave with a lot of bones, and there's some Ray-Bans on that skull over there, and he says, there's always that one overachieving researcher who just won't go away and take no for an answer. You know, when you hear the wood breaking, and you may hear the growls or read the rocks coming in, something big is in the woods, and it's agitated that you're there. Okay, don't push your luck. Okay, you may be the guy in the cave with the Ray-Bans on. Okay, last one. But after saying that, I will say this: you get out there and you look, because Bigfoot may be closer than you think. Right here in this part of Oklahoma, I grew up in Altus. I would have never thought, my mom's from McCurtain County, I would have never thought Oklahoma had Bigfoot growing up. It's just crazy. It's just crazy that they're here. But guess what? They are here. So you get out there and you look, because Bigfoot's going to be closer than you think. And I hope if you can't find him, that he's going to come up and find you. This one says, hey, I heard you've been looking for me. And he's standing at the guy's door. All right. Flip it. I do have a book here of my cartoons. If you're interested, let me know. I'll be happy to sign it for you. And if you ever have an idea for cartoons, I'm looking for those. You come to me and I'll jot them down, and maybe you'll get into the book too.
That's why you hang out with us all the time.
Man, the MABRC is a fodder for cartoons. I tell you what, it is really something. All right, one more. Okay. Thank you for letting me be here. Thank you.